Hey, this is Ihab. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a 3D model based on an image that you have, and you can do some work on the selection and creating specific details of it. So pretty much you can make a 3D model out of everything that you want, as long as you have the capability of creating the right path for it. So I'm gonna be using this as an example because it's a logo and I want to create it in 3D, for instance. And in this image here, I do have transparency, so that makes things easier for me. But with Photoshop, even if it's a flattened image, say like this, as you can see, it's just one image now. You can always go to the magic wand and make a selection. Here's another selection. So even in that case, you can manage your way around it. So granted, the higher the resolution, the better result that you get. Okay, so you have an image, you made a selection. Now what's next? You go into the Paths tab here, and then right mouse button, make work path. And I would go with the least amount of tolerance, so it would be as precise as possible. Hit OK, and now you have created these paths. Okay, once you're done, you go to File, and then you go to this very interesting option here that you might not come across normally. Export, and then Paths to Illustrator, work path, logo. Here are my files, and this is the one. It is as simple as drag and drop, and voila, like magic. So what's next? So I went through and experimented with the result that I got from those paths, and because the tolerance was very low, the result had a lot of vertices, and therefore it was time consuming to do the extrusion out of it, and also it was too jagged. So therefore I'm gonna go through the process again, but this time I'm gonna go with a higher tolerance just so I can have a nicer curvature. So it's really good to see the comparison between the two. Right mouse button, make work path, and go with a tolerance of 2. Because when you go with the tolerance of 2, notice that you get a lot less of those path points. Okay, back to square one. This is the path that I have. You can see some faceting here, but for my case, this should be good. I'm gonna select this one here. If I go to standard fit, hit apply. So standard fit isn't great. Gonna go with general, try, and then see what results I get. So I'm gonna go with count. I'm gonna give it 4,000. That's a decent result. I can even go with 5,000 if I want to. I'm gonna go with this one. Now it's the turn for this, and this. Gonna do the same. Apply. This is not so great. I can go with a cylinder instead of this one, so I'm not too worried. I'm gonna select these and Alt-Shift-D to clear the history, then select the path, delete, select this piece, the big one, Control-E, extrude it out, a value of 5. Then I'm gonna select everything and then deselect that big chunk. So if I hit wireframe, you can see this is what I have selected, and then Control-E and apply the same number, or maybe actually higher this time, because I want to boolean them and I want to be able to see exactly what they're going to look like this. So this is a separate piece now from this, and they're all as one piece. These 3 segments here, they're just one piece. So select them, shift select this one, space bar, and then go to mesh, and then boolean. I'm gonna tear off the boolean option. I'm gonna close this menu. So here on the boolean you can go difference A and B. So A is the first object you select and B is the second one. So you can see here, I want the opposite of this result. I want something like this. Once you're done, Alt-Shift-D to clear history. But before I clear the history for this example exactly, I'm going to go to the view from here, going to hide this annoying grid, going to create shift right mouse button cylinder, Alt Shift D to clear the history. Then I'm gonna go to the top view to make sure I match the same depth. And that's how it's done. So here is your recap. You import the image into Photoshop. You make a selection. You turn the selection into work path. You export it as Illustrator paths. Then you import it into your 3D software, in this case Maya. Then you go to the surfaces and click on planar and you choose the option that works for you. Then based on the image or the logo that you're working on, you might need to do some booleaning or some other tricks that would get the job done. And keep in mind that the higher the number of the tolerance, the smoother the lines, but it's a case-by-case basis. Certain logos or images may require certain approach. And it goes without saying that if you are making the paths yourself, then you can give yourself a lot more freedom to get certain results the way you want them to be. Alright, so with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video.